Shalom. Welcome back to Torah Truth for Today. I'm Scott Banyo, and we have been counting down the top 15 objections that people have to the Torah being for every believer today. The common objections that Christians have that God's law is not for us necessarily today, except in some spiritual sense, but not in a practical sense. Sometimes people say that Jesus came to give us new wine, that Jesus came to actually teach us something radically different than the Old Testament. And in essence, he actually did away with the old rules and regulations, and that he gave us new teachings such as the Golden Rule. Once I heard Bill O'Reilly say, quote, "I'm not an Old Testament Christian, but a New Testament one. You know, love God and love your neighbor as yourself." When Jesus said what the two greatest commandments are, he was quoting directly from Torah. He was quoting from Deuteronomy and Leviticus. These were not Jesus' originals. Deuteronomy 6:5 says that you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. This is the greatest commandment. And Leviticus 19:18, the second greatest commandment. You shall not take vengeance or hold any grudge against the children of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. In Yeshua's own words, he said that he didn't come to teach anything other than what his Father's words were, and that he did nothing other than what he saw his Father do. John 5:30 says, I can of myself do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is righteousness, because I don't seek my own will, but the will of my Father who sent me. John 12:49 says, For I have not spoken on my own authority, but the Father who sent me gave me a command, what I should say and what I should speak. And John 14:24 says, He who does not love me does not keep my words. And the words that you hear are not mine, but the words of my Father who sent me. In John 7:16 through 19, Jesus answered them and said, My doctrine is not mine, but him who sent me. If anyone desires to do his will, he shall know concerning the doctrine, whether it is from God or whether I speak of my own authority. He who speaks for himself seeks his own glory, but he who seeks the glory of the one who sent him is true, and no unrighteousness is in him. Did not Moses give you the law? And yet none of you keeps the law. What doctrine was Yeshua talking about? He was talking about Torah. Wise old King Solomon said in Proverbs 4:1 and 2, Hear, my children, the instruction of a father, and give attention to no understanding. For I give you good doctrine. Do not forsake my Torah or my instructions. We would be wise to see that the Father is speaking this to us today. Often I hear people say that Jesus changed the rules because he said things like, Moses said this, but I say to you this, and so contradicting Moses. So they pit Moses and Jesus against themselves. The fact is that Yeshua never contradicted the words of Moses, and we have to understand that these were not Moses' words anyways. God delivered it to him. God gave him every word that he wrote down. We could say that Jesus was the author of the Torah. Moses just wrote them down under inspiration of the Holy Spirit. But in each case of seeming contrast between Jesus and Moses, not only does Jesus not go against his own law, but he actually takes it to another level. He makes a point that it's not just the outward keeping of the law, it's not the letter of the law, it's the spirit of the law, or the intent of the heart. For instance, he said that if we even have thoughts of lust or hating someone in our hearts, that we are guilty of adultery and murder. This is amazing, because far from doing away with the law, Yeshua actually holds us to an even higher standard. Some will use the example of the woman caught in adultery to show that Jesus was throwing away the old law for this new law that was grace and mercy. How many times have you heard that the Old Testament is harsh and it was all about judgment and wrath, and the New Testament's all about mercy and grace and love? But this is the same God. God does not change. God's law is perfect, as it says in Psalm 19. Law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. At second glance, Jesus actually uses Torah to save the woman's life. In the Torah, it was a commandment to have at least 2 or 3 witnesses in order to deliver a death penalty. It says in Deuteronomy, 1 witness shall not rise against a man concerning any iniquity or any sin that he commits, but by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, then the matter shall be established. So in the woman's case, there were not 2 witnesses that came forward, so she was free to go. But very interestingly, note that Yeshua said to go and sin no more. And remember, sin, by definition, is violation of God's law. Again, far from being done away with, Jesus expects us to keep his commandments. As it says in 1 John, this is the very love of God, that you keep his commandments, and his commandments are not burdensome. And Jesus said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. Thank you again for watching. I hope that you liked the video. If you do, if you can hit that like button and subscribe to this channel and share it with a friend. Shalom, shalom. Nothing missing, nothing broken in your lives. B'Shem Yeshua Ha-Mashiac. God bless you.